1031 from 2017. This also features our guest Justin Seaman as a director. It's an anthology movie, so it's got a lot of directors. Brett DeJager, Rocky Gray, Zane Hirschberger, John William Holt, Hunter Johnson, and Justin Seaman. The summary is basically it's a horror anthology presented by like an Elvira style host named Malvolia. She brings you 5 different stories. Do you have any additional details?
It was distributed by Red Letter Entertainment, and this was put out on DVD as well as VHS. This has the soundtracks on CD, and it has I think a couple different posters for it as well.
Yeah, I've seen several. The movie starts out and it introduces you to the horror host Malvolia, who's an actual horror host on YouTube. She has a whole channel.
It felt very natural.
Yeah, and I think everybody can get on board with like a buxom horror host like that. No, you weren't on that?
No, I thought you were going to touch on
them titties. But she's it always goes there, man. Anyway, she's showing these kids are watching this show, and it goes into the first story, which is the Justin Seaman story, The Old Hag. I thought that The Old Hag was one of the most solid stories in the collection. It really makes you feel uneasy. I assume if you went to bed and breakfasts, you wouldn't want to do it anymore because it's fucking weird. I think the only thing I have to say about it is the hag would have been more effective with less makeup, but it was a dude in there, so that that's what it is. Trespasser was a story about a scarecrow. It was kind of confusing. Could have probably been really good if it had a longer.
How about we just
slow
down a little bit?
How do you want to do this?
Touch on each.
Okay,
each
well, let's
story?
talk about the Old Hag first.
Okay.
Basically, the story is these 2 videographers are being paid on Halloween, for whatever reason, to come to this woman's house and talk about shooting an advertisement for her bed and breakfast. Things start going weird, and one of the
Well, it was a good time to do it because they didn't have any guests on Halloween.
Yeah,
they always mess stuff up.
Yeah, so the one of the camera guys starts seeing stuff, and things take a turn for the worse. It really, like, that whole building is really creepy. I can't imagine staying in a bed and breakfast.
It's a very cool house.
Yeah. He just keeps seeing things out of the corner of his eye. Weird shit's happening, and at the end, I think everybody dies, right? So, both the dudes die, and the woman finally can get to sleep because she can't sleep.
Right.
Then you want to move on to the next story?
No, I just want to touch on a few things. We mentioned the house, the Montgomery Mansion, being a bed and breakfast. I think it was a very cool setting. The house alone created some atmosphere. The Old Hag, I thought, looked great, and it appears to be like almost a full body costume.
It is.
Yeah. So I thought she looked creepy. I thought it was great. Again, really good music. The acting was good. It had some great shots. I think, being the second thing that I've seen from Justin Seaman, I can start to see his style.
Yeah, for sure.
He has a style to him. I didn't like rate like each segment, but I thought for sure this one stood above the rest. I'm guessing that's kind of why they had it the first.
It's a good way to start the movie off.
But I did kind of rate them in my head as I was watching them, and I think it was almost in chronological order.
Oh, really?
As they went on. I don't know if that's the way they did that, if they intended to do that. Maybe 4 and 5 switch places, but
yeah, this is one of the strongest segments.
Yeah, it was my favorite story for sure.
Jared, what did you think about the first segment? Anything?
Yeah, I thought it was one of the. I think my two favorites from it were the first one and then the roller skating.
Yeah,
one.
that was a really strong one.
Those are the two standout ones. And again, it's low budget horror, but it's done in a way that you can tell watching it, but it doesn't feel like it. Like a lot of the common things you expect from low budget horror, which is, great ideas in shitty made movies. This is really cool ideas done well, just without the money to polish. So, and I think most of them, we're not getting too far in it. I think the last one was the only one that I kind of,
Really?
yeah.
Well,
but yeah, the Old Hag, was that what it was called?
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. Old Hag and the roller skating rink one were definitely the two that stood out the most.
The one that comes after the Old Hag is called Trespassers. It's basically about what is it? A couple that are going out to see some old scarecrow that has.
They're on a date. They go to a movie that sucked. I think they may even walked out on it.
Right.
Yeah.
So they want to do something else. It's Halloween. She wants to get scared.
Yeah. So they go out to this old house that has a scarecrow that has lore about it. I think that this could have been fucking awesome if it was a whole full length movie. Like if they had time to flesh out what exactly was happening, because I have no idea what fucking happened in this segment, aside from the thing comes to life and kills him, and then he becomes the thing, or what? It's just confusing.
This was Zane Hirschberger's, by the way.
This wasn't one of my favorite segments. I mean, it was all right. It was strong. It wasn't as strong as the Old Hag or Killing the Dance, which is my favorite segment, I think. But it was all right. You got anything on this one?
Yeah. First of all, I don't know. I guess I love scarecrows in movies.
Right.
I just think they're creepy, and they always remind me. They just automatically give you the feel of fall time, Halloween. The music in this one was great. Scarecrow looked good. It was a decent story. Had some gore to it. The acting kind of takes a step back a little bit. I think this was my second best segment in it. And I was a little confused why the first Scarecrow had on. I think he was wearing a leather jacket. I was like, why? You're making a scarecrow, like that's a cool iconic figure, and then you put a leather jacket on him. But like you said, whoever gets killed, whatever they're wearing, they go up as a scarecrow. So yeah, that made sense.
I think it would have been like if they could have taken, because they had like a thing about a family, like that old family that was supposed to own that property. If they would have had time to make that a whole movie, they could have done a whole fucked up weird thing where that was like the fucking. Like a whole religion around it or whatever, all kinds of shit. But it was a strong segment. Anything else on that one? You want to move on? The third segment is Killing the Dance. This is definitely my favorite segment.
Jason Turner's.
It's about some kids, or they're closing down they're closed the roller ring for the night for like a private Halloween party, right? And it turns out that there's a killer in the midst, and what really creepy fucking cowboy costume. That was the thing that really made me like love it. I was like, that's a fucked up costume, and to have a straight razor as the weapon, and just there's a lot of blood and crazy shit in this segment. I loved it a lot. And the twist at the end of it was that it was the mother the whole time. Ouch!
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Should have said that beforehand.
No, we all of our shows are spoilers. So if you don't know that by now,
yeah. So what did you think about this one?
Well, speaking of costumes, did you pick up on all the Karate Kid costumes?
No, I didn't. Actually.
Like the Cobra Kai, they wear those skeleton. The skeleton costumes,
right.
And then they even had Ralph's shower. He's a shower for their Halloween thing, and this was even in it. So I thought that was pretty funny. Some Easter eggs there, I guess.
I fucking forgot about the very end. I forgot the mom. The mom has the twist, and then there's the son who blows her head up. Holy fuck! I fucking forgot all about that. That just popped in my head. I had to say something about it. The kid pulls his mask off, and he's like a. What do you say the proper term for it is the thing?
I have telekinetic monster.
Yeah, he looks like Jason Voorhees, kind of, but he blows the mother's head up. Oh, it's fantastic. Anyways, continue, Jason.
Anyway, I thought the skating rink was a cool setting. It was something different.
Takes you back to Skateland.
Don't see too many of them.
Yeah, everybody skate.
But a lot of the segment was just people skating around. it was getting to be a bit much, a bit long, just skating.
They
around.
ride the suspense.
But
a lot.
yeah, like they are panning back and forth. I get it. The music helps pace this segment, and yeah, it pays off at the end with the twist. Mikey, the brother, ends up being a telekinetic monster, and the mom ends up being the cowboy. I think this is probably the third. My third favorite segment.
Literally going right.
Yeah,
now.
like I said, but I think maybe 4 and 5 might
Yeah,
be
I
switched.
can see how that happens. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, this was the other one. Like I said, this one and the first one were kind of tied for my two favorite, and this one was a little bit crazier, and the payoff I thought was strong.
It
but
had to have that payoff.
the reason this wasn't my favorite is what you had said. There's a little too much of people. It just feels like you're people skating. The first one is smoother. It's more
Polished.
Yeah. The story in a whole. This one, the story isn't through it is a little gets a little slow, but the payoff I felt was really strong.
So yeah, and like I think what the girl that was skating around, I guess she was going to go home with that one chick.
Yeah.
Like they just like it was just her skating around, but she looked good, so I understand it.
But yeah, it like the strong points of this one and the weak points of this one, and then the first one, they kind of level out, so they're tied for me. But those are the two. Those are the two I think are most noteworthy.
The next segment is called the Halloween Blizzard of '91. Do you have the director on this?
It's the Brett D. Yeager.
Okay, this one I fucking didn't like at all. I did not like it. Keep Santa Claus out of my Halloween movies for fuck's sake. And also decide, is it the trick-or-treating kids that are doing the damage, or is it Santa Claus? Because I need you to decide on what it is. And also keep Santa Claus out of my Halloween movies. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's all you got to say?
That's all I gotta say. It wasn't my cup of tea.
The shots from the outside of the house, looking at the house, I thought looked cool. With the snow falling, obviously they had that CG, but I don't know. I liked that. That was a good shot. The sister-in-law, all right, is walking around the house in her panties, and like everyone's cool with that.
That's what you
Well,
do.
I think the guy almost he would have fucked her. Probably.
He did. He was.
He did a little bump.
Yeah.
He like
Well,
gave her a
you
little
don't walk
bump.
around in your panties. I mean, that's the
That's the rule of the house.
don't walk around in your panties. Speaking of the Santa Claus, I thought he looked really good. I thought the Santa Claus looked better than what most Santa Clauses do in
that's
Christmas
true.
movies.
Yeah, but keep it in the Christmas horror. I mean, put it in the.
Okay, I could.
I don't
Yeah,
mind Christmas
I can agree.
horror, but this is a
I can
Halloween
agree.
movie, dude.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. But yeah, I was a little confused on the story as well. Like Santa saves the good kids, and the bad kids.
Yeah, it's like if you
love Halloween.
if you love if you
I'm a little
love
confused.
Christmas, Santa Claus is going to come and like help you out. And if you love Halloween, you're fucking dead, brother.
Yeah, the acting is rough in this.
The quality dropped off, I thought, quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I have this down as my fourth favorite, but again, 4 and 5 can kind of switch places. So, Jared,
Yeah, I thought it was a fun idea. I'm not as against the idea as Frank is.
yeah, he's right. Like I don't, you got something against Santa.
It's
I don't like Christmas at all.
I mean,
usually.
it was mixed in with the Halloween. Like
Yeah, and I enjoyed.
they were
all
kinda
the-
fighting
all-
each other.
All
Yeah,
the
like,
Christmas movies we watched are great.
It's a
love
fun
them,
idea over things we all know. Like, people that like Halloween more than Christmas, and we know people who have. I mean, no one's fought about it, but yeah, I've heard the conversations of why one's better. That and it's a fun idea to explore. It wasn't explored. It wasn't explored in a way that made me turn it off, but also not in a way that.
Did you understand what was going on?
Yeah, it's. I think the overall idea is it's just Christmas versus Halloween. Nitpicking the specifics of it is defeatist.
Like I felt like it was right there, and I felt stupid for like not quite understanding. But
No, there was no connection. I don't know what happened.
It's again, it's an indie low budget horror version of the idea of Christmas versus Halloween. I think going into it any further is...
I think time restraints had a lot of like effect on these segments. Like, oh, we got this much time. Fuck.
Yeah, again, and like you guys was, I mean, I would switch. 1 and 3 are kind of tied for me. Then it's 2, 4, and 5.
At the same time, though, you only have to make a good movie for 15 minutes. Like,
yeah. So it's a funny idea. It was a funny enough idea that kept me entertained enough that I went right on into 5. So I mean,
see, for me, they could have removed it and it would have made it like a much better movie.
Well, let's talk about the 5th one.
The 5th one is called the Sam Hain Slasher. And this one, I'm surprised you guys don't have this higher than you do, because I thought it could have, like, if they take this, they could have made this a franchise. I think that character is strong enough to do that.
Did you hear my stomach rumble?
Yes.
I was wondering.
You get a sandwich in this guy.
Let's go.
Lost it.
This is a very. I think it's a strong segment. And there's a reason they use this for a lot of the artwork, I think, because the character could be its own thing. But you guys felt differently? What were the downfalls for this for you guys? Just standard generic slasher?
Nothing grabbed me. I have good music. I was lost with this story as well. Between the Sam Hain killer and all the supernatural stuff that happened, I almost felt like, just pick one and roll with that.
You got 15 minutes.
Yeah, like just
you only need one.
The killer's cool. The killer's cool enough, and supernatural stuff's cool on its own. So I don't know. And it had some cool effects.
Yeah, I think a lot of these segments people were trying to get, like some of these segments in these anthologies have been made into full-length movies. Like you could just watch Terrifier or whatever. Wasn't that from an anthology originally?
Yeah, All Hallows Eve.
Yeah, so it can happen.
And there's another low-budget horror movie. It seems like that's all I've been watching lately. And I should have checked this out because I'm seeing it on paper now. Like, I think the music's good in every segment. So there it is again.
You need some fucking sandwiches.
I wonder if maybe the same guy did the music over all of them.
Might have. But yeah, for me, it was the bottom. It's cool stuff and just executed in a way that was. I don't know that. I don't know that 4 was better than 5, but
I'll probably switch it every time I watch it.
It had a more original idea, I guess, than what was going on, and 5 might make a better. 5 would definitely make a better movie if you had a concise movie put out of it, but
yeah,
then 4, but it kind of bored me, I guess.
But I give this a 9 because I think it's one of the best overall horror anthologies I've ever seen. I haven't watched a lot of them though.
Wow.
You've probably seen a lot more, but I think this is stronger than Creepshow 2, and Creepshow 2 is a pretty good anthology. I think. I mean, think of the segments in Creepshow 2. There's the wooden chief. I really
like Creepshow 2.
There's the wooden chief. Which is all right.
Which is great.
What other segments are in that movie?
Well, let's not get on Creepshow.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, I liked it more than Creepshow 2.
Okay.
Not more than Creepshow 1, but definitely more than Creepshow 2.
I really liked the what's her name, Malvolia.
Oh yeah.
I think they could have worked her in between each segment instead.
Surprised they didn't.
I think she was in the beginning and the end, but no, I would have worked her.
Just stop there.
Any chance you could get her in there?
Come on now, we're professionals here. No, I would have worked her in between the segment.
It would have made more sense if they would have worked her in between the segments. Just work her out.
Jesus Christ. I apologize to whoever the actress is.
Hashtag me too.
No, I liked it. It was great music overall. Some segments were a little weak, but I think you have that in any anthology. Overall, I thought the stories were good. And again, it's a Halloween anthology, so I'm going to bring this out every October for sure. I gave it a 6.
I am with Jason as well. I too gave it a 6. Anthologies are not high on. I'm not big on anthologies. I don't dislike them, but I can't think. Trick or Treat, I think, is the only one I can think of that.
I love anthologies.
Yeah, I think it's the only one I
give you
can.
a big old list of them.
I think it's the only one I can think of that I've ever watched that I was like, and nothing against the things in anthologies, but when you do an anthology as a whole, it's like anything. It's like a book or whatever. You're going to get some good ones, and you're going to get some stinkers. So anthologies are tough to, on a whole, be like, that's really good. Trick or Treat is one of the few that I like that movie beginning to end. The Halloween theme, I think, might be in it too, because I found that this is a stronger one for me than other anthology movies, and it might be because I like the idea of Halloween stories.
Love them.
As a little bit. So I think the Halloween vibe works for this. So I would probably watch this again before most other anthologies that I've watched, other than Trick or Treat. But in the end, it's like, in the end, there are some that are really worth watching. But I think after you watch it once, there are some you won't watch the second or third time. You might
I'd probably just watch them all.
Yeah, too lazy to fast forward.
Yeah.
But
So-
no, none of them were that bad.
But yeah, I give it a 6, and this and The Barn, actually, I've given some low budget stuffs 5 or 6. The difference between these two, I've been scoring these more on what I would give something, not considering how low the budget is. So take that into consideration. I'm judging these more as the movies that aren't that low budget than like slashers. I mean, I gave slashers a 5. Slashers doesn't touch either of these two. It's way it's bad compared to these two. I'm judging that one as a trash movie. These are low budget movies that I think you can rate and compare on. Not saying I'm going to forgive them for the budget. You don't have to. They're good enough. I felt they shouldn't be forgiven for the budget because they were made by people who kind of knew what they were doing. So, but yeah, I gave this one a 6 too.
All right. Well.